All right, YouTube, how you doing today? This is just a quick video on my everyday cutters that I use to this day. A little bit of what I use them for and why I use that specific one. There's two things I don't regularly carry on the truck here, but do come out from time to time if I need them. So let's just get to it. It's my 5 everyday saws that are on my truck, my heavy saw, and the hedge trimmer I use and why. Okay, we're going to go right to the hedge trimmer, and I do use a Stihl Kombi unit. It's a very specific reason for that. I do have from one of my old stick saws, I have an extension pole I can put on this from one of my Stihl 12-footers that got damaged years ago, so that I can do longer reach. But the reason in particular I use this for trimming hedges is the extended reach and the flexibility of the blade. If you've ever cut flat top hedge from a bucket truck that's wide, you find yourself in a certain circumstance where you can't reach over the basket and get the middle of a hedge without putting the basket down into the hedge. With this, you can turn it on an angle. You can sit your basket on the hedge and use it sort of like a golf club. Great tool to have around, very handy. I do have a blower for it that's really handy, like a linear blower. Very handy for cleaning gutters. And the line trimmer that I use at my house when I mow the lawn. Good solid tool, enough power. And it's, what is it? It's the 110R, KM110R engine, whatever cc's that is, I don't know. Probably around maybe 25 or something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Don't really know that much about it. Other than I've had it for 15 years, and it is a very handy tool. Okay, this is my go-to topper. This is my Efco MTT3600. I got this saw as a backup for my Husky 338 XPT, which has since died. I kept my Husky around. Was having a lot of mechanical issues. I've come to really like this saw. I do have another backup saw, Husky 335, that I very rarely use, but I've come to like this saw because of the size of my hand and how the saw hits my hand. I'm not going to say this is the fastest saw in the world. I'm not going to say it's the best topper in the world, but it's really good for me. And I find that it's more than serviceable with a 12-inch bar on it, which is what I use. I'm very, very happy with it overall. It's proven to be super reliable, a good cutter, and you really can't ask for very much more. Easy to service. Just an all-around solid saw. It's right up there with the Echo 30cc series saws, you know, with the rear air filters on them, where Echo changed, made a better saw. Like I said, not lighting the world on fire, but a good steady saw. Great saw if you're starting out, reasonably priced, and I'm just overall super happy with it. Okay, moving up the food chain. This is my Stihl MS250. I bought this saw years ago. I predominantly use it in the mouth of my hole tree chipper. It's an 1890. Small hole tree chipper, large brush chipper, whatever you want to call it, 24-inch log it'll take. But you get large branches, you know, 6 inches in diameter, and it won't crush and crack them as it goes through the hopper. You got to cut them free. And I found this because it's a super fast cutter, especially with the 16-inch bar on it. It is a high-performance saw. This is the 40cc range. It's a 45-something cc saw, but like most Stihls, it's proven to be super reliable, super durable, and I'm super happy with it. Very little maintenance on it over the years. Probably got it around somewhere around 12 years ago, and the only issue I ever had was one of the lines came off with the carburetor. It was a little tiny clamp, but other than that, it has really proven to be a good runner over time, so I'm super happy with it. But we always refer to them as the Fisher-Price saws because they had a lot of plastic on them, but I got to tell you, super durable. Other than the funky mounting system for the anti-vibe right here. Somebody else did a video on it, and right here they have these funky spreader caps to hold everything in place. But other than that, really, it's been a super reliable saw, true to Stihl's nature. Okay, next on the list, Stihl 034. I want to say this is somewhere around 60 cc's. I believe I read 58 on this, but I do believe it might be 60 or 61. I could be wrong, but it is somewhere around 60. Great saw, super reliable, nice firewood saw, a little bit lighter than your most saws, you know, that I have. On top of that, this was a Facebook Marketplace find. I got it for $100, runs like a champ. I do run an 18-inch bar on it, and on my bigger saws recently, I've started running semi-chisel because I've been doing a lot of milling, and quite frankly, for a lot of the milling I do, semi-chisel chain that's good and sharp. I don't use a milling chain, but overall, I found this. If you're cutting anything that's like 15 inches or below, and you have a lot of it, it's a nice light saw, gets you through it relatively fast. You know, it all depends on what you're doing at work. But again, still super reliable, super durable, holds up over the years. Replacement parts available if you need them, you know. Surprisingly, I went to get a new bar. All I could get was a Forester bar for it. And I didn't know a lot about Forester bars. This bar is held up beautifully, right? Forester, was that it was no, it wasn't Forester. I forget the name of it. Maybe once somebody out there knows because of the what's left of the logo on it, but the bar is held up amazingly well. I'm really pleased with it. Again, I only run an 18-inch bar on it. I do tend to run smaller bars than bigger bars, and just use a bigger saw with a smaller bar for what I need to cut. So this is number 3 on the list of my 5 everydays. Okay, now to me, this was kind of surprised to have in my everyday stable. This is an Echo QV6700. I bought it because a QV is a quick vent saw. It was made for the fire service. Swapped it over to a chainsaw. It's basically the same saw as the Echo CS6700. I believe the only thing that's different is the stack filter and this cover, but I never changed it over. I bought this saw as a novelty. I found that it runs great. It also has a secondary manual oiler on it, so you can hyper oil your bar, which I do use this for milling. I've been using it on a beam mill, a bunch of videos showing up about that, fails and successes with it. It is not the fastest saw in the world, but it does have a lot of low end, which makes it ideal because it's a runner lowing saw. It makes it ideal for milling because if you've milled a lot with a chainsaw mill, you'll understand how that eats saws unless they're lower rev saws. That's why the older saws tend to work for a lot longer. They may be a little bit slower, but you get more out of your saw. And I would rather have grunt with that than something that keeps locking up on the chain. But this is a great saw. It's got an external adjustment for the idle, which I found to be very helpful, believe it or not, with the changes in temperature. You need to change that idle. It's also got this, it's got like a 2 system. The chain brake isn't attached to the lever for the chain brake handle. So when it goes up, you have a 2-click back. There's the first click and the lever's up, but then you have to, I'm hoping you're hearing that click and that lever goes up. And when I've discovered what this was, I was like, that's a weird design. But what that is this makes this an inertial chain brake. So if you get a quick jump, it'll actually trigger your chain brake rather than your hand. So it kind of goes first. It's a safety device. It works well. I'm hoping to find an Echo QV or CS8000, or if I'm really lucky, 9000 to add on to my stable. But we'll see. Again, I really like this saw. I found it to be very, very reliable and very, very good cutting saw. It is heavy though. This baby, she's old school, all metal, and runs like a champ. Starts well, even hot in hot weather. She's a good goer. Good saw. QV6700, CS6700. Okay, now we're into my heavies. We are into the things legends are made of. Husqvarna 288 XP. Amazing saw. I have had this since the 1980s. I had two of them. This is really my go-to for anything heavy. I love this saw. Just a great runner, it's proven to be. It actually sat for 10 or 12 years, maybe even 15 years at one point, where it didn't get used. I bought it to my local mechanic, Joe's Small Engines in Pine Bush, New York, man. Let me tell you something. When it came back from him, this thing, I don't even remember it running that good when it was new. He did an amazing job with it. It was just little things. But he, taking care of the anti-vibe. There was actually an exhaust bushing or gasket missing between the muffler and the head. But everything made a huge difference. This saw would still be considered a very fast saw to this day. A ton of power. We're up at 88 cc's. You're talking 90 cc range. So we're going right from the 68 cc saw, 67, 68 cc saw, right up to this 90 cc's almost, and running a 27-inch bar on it like it's not even there. It'll run a 36. I've never done it, but skip tooth. I'm imagining it's a pretty ferocious beastie. I might add on a 36 for it just for milling's sake. I do use it for milling. Only thing I don't like about it is it's got a screw-on, screw-off air filter cover, so it's like a chore to change, to clean your air filter. But like it's, old saw. Got an adjustable chain brake. The top broke off. I just welded something up, which is like, ooh, look at this baby. Here, we'll give you a better look at that. It's made out of some bolts that I cut and welded, and I am not a welder, so I hope the camera's picking up how bad my welds are. But it works perfectly well. This saw has a decompression button on it, and it's a wise thing to use, especially in cold weather. If you've ever used any of the big Huskies, older Huskies, they're notorious for hyper compression, and in the winter you'll pull that cord and you'll pull that saw, you punch yourself right in the face, first your fist, then the saw. One thing that the Echo, I didn't mention, the Echo QV6700 doesn't have is a compression button. So this is my first saw with a compression button on it size-wise. Great saw, super durable, super longevity. Like I said, the things legends are made of. But if you think this thing's legendary, the 6 saw, which is not one that I bring every day, but I do bring it when I need it, is truly the thing of myth and legend. Okay, let's talk about legends. This is a Stihl 090 AV. I have 2 of them. I run them on chainsaw mills, and this is bona fide, baby. Made in West Germany. Amazing saw. It's got the funky overtop wraparound kind of handle. The big dogs. Right now it's got a 36-inch bar on it. Over on the other side, she weighs a ton. But over on this side, secondary oiler. That's why they're so popular with milling. The giant toggle on off switch. Throttle lock, that when you're milling, if you turn the throttle lock on, I'll do that from the other side. So let's turn it around so you can see. It does have a throttle lock. Pull the trigger and push this in, and if you set this throttle lock while you're milling, the saw is at full rev. The reason these saws are so popular with mills, and people are like, oh, they're slow, they're old, and nah. It's because they have a weather vane governor, and the weather vane governor keeps this baby running right about 8,000 RPM. They're real hard to blow up if you take good care of them. So it's got that oiler, that secondary oiler, so if you're running a really large bar, you can dump oil, and this does take a lot of oil. They do use a lot of fuel, and it does have, see this? This is the decompression button for the cylinder, but with this decompression button, you hold it in, you pull your saw and let off at the same time. It doesn't stick in. Only issue I ever had with these is there's nothing light about them. Nothing. Even the muffler. That's cast metal. That's a freaking cast muffler. This thing, it's just giant. I mean, I'm 6'2", 280. Look at the size of the cover. Metal cover for the clutch. The clutch is gigantic. This saw is, in fact, I mean, well, let's look at, before we go any further, the size of the fuel tank. It's a lawnmower fuel tank. This saw is 137 cc's. Largest production saw ever made. Needless to say, keep them clean, take care of them, they run forever. I'm guessing, I don't know, what is this, the early 70s, this saw? No chain brake on it. To my knowledge, this is like the earliest saw that I've ever seen, to my knowledge. I might have seen something that has a full anti-vibe system. And look at this, it has like the kind of bushings you have on the front end of a Jeep for the you know, those big giant rubber bushings for your control arms on like a Jeep Cherokee. Good saw, good and reliable. Always been happy with it. Enjoy running it. Around chainsaw guys, it really is an attention getter, which, you know, it's a fun saw too in that respect, because most of you guys are saw nerds. So that is my beast. Okay, that's it. These are the go-to tools on my bucket truck. BR600 Stihl blower, if you want to count a blower, is my everyday. And like I said, the linear induction blower there for that combi unit is amazing for cleaning gutters from the basket. But these are the saws, and from the 3600 all the way up to the 090, I mean, we're talking about a jump of 100 cc's, 101 cc's. But I'm happy with all of them. And, you know, you see anything that you like to use or would like to use, or like have a favorite saw, feel free to drop a comment. I could use a little algorithm support. And thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful in some way to somebody, and have a great day.